what is it like to own a Toyota Prius? What are the best things about Toyota Prius ownership? We're going to start right from the top, and that is pricing. You know, you could spend a heck of a lot more money to get a vehicle that has the same kind of systems and functionality and looks of the Toyota Prius. Modestly priced, I think, at anywhere between $32,000 and $42,000, somewhere in that range. You really do get one heck of a car. Awesome fuel economy. I mean, I'm getting 52, 54 miles per gallon right now. And you can't beat that in a car for this price, I don't think. I'm sure there's some maybe equivalent ones out there, but you're not going to get the same kind of fit, finish, technology, and fun factor as what you get in this car. You know, one of my big reasons to never get a Prius in the past was because of its anemic acceleration. It was a dog. 0 to 60 in 13 point some seconds. Absolutely horrible. You know, I always felt like I could probably run faster than, well, I couldn't, but I felt that I could run faster than that, right? One of my biggest reasons. Appearance used to be another thing. Now, you get a car that looks awesome. The looks of this car, hard to beat in any other hybrid out there, in my opinion. This car is sporty looking, it is modern looking, and it is aggressive looking. Tint the windows, and you've got yourself, I'll stretch it a little bit, what almost appears, if not, to be a sports car. I would consider the Toyota Prius to be, granted, maybe a low level, but nonetheless, still fringing on sports car looks. It's just that awesome. Now, from a comfort standpoint, I was a bit concerned before I bought this car because I watched a lot of reviews and things on the web about it, and a lot of people complained about its lesser size than its predecessor, right? Smaller interior dimensions. I thought, gee, is this car going to be cramped feeling? Am I going to get in it, regret buying it? Because of course I did have to grab this car out of allocation, so it was basically taken sight unseen. But I'm here to tell you, if you are of average proportion, as I am, 5'9.5", about 180 pounds, you won't have any problems fitting in here at all. I will caution you, depending on how high you raise your seat, the roof line is a little bit low, and you might smack your head getting in or out, or even leaning forward, depending on how aggressive you are in doing it. I've had it happen a few times myself, really my fault, not that big of a deal, and I haven't had to make a trip to the hospital because of it, so not a big issue for me, but just something to be weary of. The feel of it on the inside does not feel small. I don't feel like I'm riding around in some kind of tin can or something. That's always a positive. You never want to have that feeling in a vehicle unless you really like tight spaces. I mentioned comfort. Everything on the interior of this car is within reach, where you can get to it. You never have to stretch too far, and that's because it is really a compact car. The radio screen, and I do recommend, if you're going to go with a Prius, go for a model that has the bigger screen in it. I love this thing. I run with it most of the time on the energy flow setting because I like to watch how the car is operating. If you're not familiar with it, it has a graphic that shows you how energy flows through the system, whether the engine is running, whether it's not, whether you're on full EV, whether you're charging, all that good stuff. I love that. But besides that, just the functionality and size of it, it is awesome. I almost got the smaller screen myself. Fortunately, that car fell through and I was able to get the Limited that had the bigger screen in it. Let's talk about the gauge cluster for a minute. Again, part of Toyota Prius ownership. Two of the only things they dogged in the car, or two things they did dog in the car, one of them was the screen view. That the steering wheel obstructed it. You wouldn't be able to see the gauge cluster because you couldn't get the seat where you needed it to be. I'm here to tell you that's not true. I don't have any issues seeing the gauge cluster. It does obscure the bottom part of the gauge cluster, but there's nothing there to see. There's no readouts, no information, nothing that you need there anyway. So if the talking heads are complaining about the steering wheel blocking the gauge cluster, it's blocking something that has nothing on it anyway. Plus, you can get the seat where you want it. Shouldn't be any problem to be able to see what you need. The steering wheel is also adjustable. So unless you're very picky, you shouldn't have any problems with that. As far as range goes, I mentioned I'm getting 52, 54 miles per gallon right now. I fill up maybe once a month. I work from home, in all fairness, so I'm not driving to a brick and mortar every day. But about once a month, I fill up probably once a week in my other vehicles, which, by the way, are a Toyota Tacoma and a Jeep Wrangler. They're definitely much more thirsty than this Prius is, but you would expect that for what they are, right? Lastly, let's talk about overall owner satisfaction. You know, the things that really matter to me that can make a car fall short, and whether or not it does what it's supposed to do. You know, it's supposed to be cutting edge. It is. It's supposed to look good. It does. It's supposed to get really excellent fuel economy. Check mark. It does. It's supposed to be comfortable. At least in my opinion, any car that you drive should be. It is. And I'm going to throw a bonus one in there, and that is the maneuverability of it. You know, this car is small, and this isn't unique to the Prius. This would be similar in any compact sedan or hatchback, but you can get in and out of places very easy in this car. You know, I often find that I have to turn around on the street right in front of my house. I don't have to do a 10-point turn to do that. Back in, turn and go, I'm ready to roll. I love that. Now, I could be a bit more biased towards that because of the Tacoma that I have. Obviously, it's a bigger vehicle, takes a bit more time and maneuvers to do the same thing in that truck. Love the car. I highly recommend it. If you're looking for something out there to commute back and forth to work and still have a little bit of fun driving, the Toyota Prius is for you. Do yourself a favor. If you can find one, and that's the big thing, if you can find one on a lot somewhere and you can actually get in it and test drive it, do it. Give it a try. See what you think of it. I'd be curious to know as well. Anybody out there who's either driven one or has bought one, and I'm talking about the redesigned 2023 or 2024 Toyota Prius, what do you think of it? Leave a comment down below. I'd be very curious to know. Thanks for watching. Stay safe out there.